Namaste and welcome to Beyond the Mat Yoga for Real Life. I am Prasanna here with my co host Rahul. He is the co founder of Subodh Yoga, a non-profit organization that is working to simplify yoga philosophy, and he's a very dedicated and committed yoga teacher.
And Prasanna is a scholar, voracious reader. We are also part of the Yoga Kulam USA. It is an umbrella organization dedicated to promoting yoga and Ayurveda for personal growth and community well-being.
And together, we'll explore yoga philosophy, not just as postures, but more as a way of living. Today, we begin with a fundamental question. What is yoga? For many, yoga means stretching, sweating, or physical fitness. But according to the sages, yoga is much, much deeper. It is clarity of mind, harmony of life, and ultimately liberation. And to explore this, we'll start with the very first two sutras of the famous Patanjali's Yoga Sutras.
Yes, Sutras 1 and 2 from the first chapter. These two tiny statements contain the seed of all yoga philosophy. And when we unpack them, we realize yoga is about much more than poses. It's about transforming the mind itself.
So, let's begin with the very first sutra. Sutra number 1 says, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. It translates into English as, now the discipline of yoga is introduced.
Notice the word na or atha. It doesn't just mean at this time. It signals readiness. It's like the teacher saying, now that you are prepared, now that your heart is open, the teaching begins. It's an invitation.
And Anushasanam means teaching or discipline. Patanjali isn't creating something brand new. He is organizing and clarifying a tradition that already existed. This is a revised, authoritative presentation of yoga for students who are ready to go deeper.
Right. And here, yoga is defined not as exercise, but as contemplation, as samadhi, a disciplined state of mind where you can rest in clarity.
So, Sutra 1 reminds us yoga is not casual. It's a practice, a discipline, an undertaking, and it begins now, not someday later.
Absolutely right. And that brings us to a practical question for our listeners. Where in your life are you waiting for that perfect moment to start a new discipline? Whether it's yoga, meditation, or even living more ethically. Remember, now is the time.
To really understand why Patanjali begins with discipline, we need to look at the states of the mind. The tradition describes 5 of them: Kshipta, Moodha, Vikshipta, Ekagra, and Niruddha. Don't be intimidated by the Sanskrit terms. We'll shortly explain what it all means.
Yes, let's walk through them. The first is Kshipta, the wandering mind. Most of us live here. It's restless, constantly jumping between thoughts, desires, and ambitions. It's dominated by rajas or restlessness.
Yes. And don't we see this in modern life? That endless scrolling, multitasking, chasing goals without any pause. In this state, it's almost impossible to focus deeply.
Absolutely. And then comes Mudha, the dull mind, clouded by tamas or inertia and confusion. This is when we feel lazy, stuck, even depressed. No motivation, no clarity. Many of us know this state too.
Then the third is Vikshipta, the occasionally steady but easily distracted mind. Sometimes focused, but often wavering. It's like when we meditate for 2 minutes and then remember our to do list the next moment.
Exactly. But this is also a transitional state. It means progress. The mind is beginning to test focus, even if it slips often.
Then comes Ekagra, the one pointed mind. Here, the mind can stay focused on a single object, thought, or meditation. This is where deeper yoga really begins through concentration.
And finally, Niruddha, the restrained mind. This is the ultimate state where all fluctuations are stilled. It's liberation or higher samadhi. Only through steady practice we can reach here.
What's beautiful is that Patanjali isn't describing something mystical, something far out there. No, he is describing our own minds. At any moment, at this moment, we might be restless, dull, distracted, focused, or still.
And the invitation is notice your mind. Which state are you in now? Because awareness is the first step to transformation.
Now, that's a great segue to bring us to Sutra number 2, which is Yogash Chitta Vritti Nirodhah. Yoga is the restraint of the modifications of the mind.
Such a simple definition, but so profound. Yoga is about calming the waves of the mind, our thoughts, emotions, restlessness, so we can see reality clearly.
Now, some people ask, if yoga is restraining all mental activity, then what about positive thoughts or states like inquiry or meditation? Do they count as vrittis or disturbances too?
That's a great question. That's where the commentators explain. Yoga doesn't restrain all activity. It restrains the modifications tied to afflictions, actions, and their consequences. In meditation, some subtle activity continues, like inquiry or bliss, but those are guiding the mind towards stillness, not away from it.
And the commentators also remind us of the gunas, the sattva guna, which means clarity, the rajas, which means restlessness, and tamas, meaning inertia. Our mind shifts between these qualities, which is why we feel different states: restless, dull, or clear.
And when rajas dominates, Prasanna, the mind is restless. It's dull. When tamas dominates. When the sattva shines, the mind becomes like a purified gold, clear, luminous, and capable of wisdom.
Wow, that's a wonderful explanation, Rahul. And the ultimate goal of all this? To reach seedless samadhi, where all fluctuations stop and only pure awareness remains. No karma, no afflictions, no ego, just pure liberation.
Absolutely. In other words, yoga is not about escape. It's about refining the mind until it becomes steady, clear, and free.
So, let's bring this back to daily life. Yoga Sutras 1 and 2 remind us A. Yoga begins now, and B. Yoga is about stilling the mind. Now, ask yourself this question: what state is your mind in today? Restless, dull, distracted, or focused? And what simple practice, breathing, journaling, meditation, could move you one step closer to steadiness?
Every small act of awareness is yoga. You don't need to wait until you are on a mat. The practice begins now.
Very good, Rahul. Now, thank you all for joining us on our very first episode of Beyond the Mat. Today, we explored the first two sutras of Patanjali, Atha Yoga Anushasanam and Yogash Chitta Vritti Nirodhah. Together, they set the foundation. Yoga begins now, and yoga is the stilling of the mind.
Absolutely. We hope this sparked reflection for our listeners. Share this episode with someone who thinks yoga is just poses. They might discover a whole new dimension.
Thank you, Rahul. I personally tremendously enjoyed working with you on this project. Join us next time as we continue this journey into yoga philosophy for real life. Until then, stay present, stay mindful, and remember, yoga starts now. Namaste.
Namaste.